I love making trolls look dumb.
What did you just say to me?
Acted as stand your ground law, which removes the duty to retreat before using deadly force. Kentucky law also makes it harder for blah 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 blah. You know what? I'm going to continue to strive to ignore these people. I'm going to continue to try. I'm not going to say I'm going to. I've said I'm going to try because that's all I can do. Because I see the results are coming in my face right here. Coming to my face. Coming in my face don't sound right. Nothing to do with your positivity. And Mike Tyson likes to fiddle with my butthole.
Nobody wants to hear about your fantasies, Cecil.
Our latest videos from Cecil hasn't exactly been riveting. But there was one thing that did catch my mind. It was a short. And it was kind of addressing us. Why would you be putting a man down when I'm already down? I'm behind with my rent. I've lost my car and all this kind of stuff. And he could be homeless in a month. We didn't know that until he actually mentioned it. But it's funny. Nothing like that is funny, but I seem to remember Cecil accusing some of us of having no jobs and no life. And he felt the need to share his latest problems, which it just looks like karma's come and got him. He was addressing us. And we didn't say anything in the last 3 weeks. So what brought that on? I think after a quiet spell, Cecil gets kind of lonely and he likes to poke the bear. When nobody has fucking said anything, like. You know? And then, along with that, he gives the stick for his critics to beat him with by coming out with all this stuff that he's only part-time now, he had to sell his car, and then he could be homeless in a month because he's behind with all his bills. Why doesn't he just keep his gob shut? Why does he need to tell everybody that? When he's got so many critics that he, you know, he doesn't want to have criticizing comments, so he turns the comments off. Why would you spill out to the world the state of your finances unless you're looking for some sympathy money? In cases when some people are in dire need and, you know, their finances for whatever reason have been, you know, pretty bad, or they need some money for some therapy or whatever. If they're a kind of a good person, people will rally around and do fundraisers. You know, they do this on YouTube. They have these chat-a-thons and, you know, leave a link in a description for people to donate money in that. The problem with Cecil is he's not a nice person. He just isn't. Why, you know, why would anybody want to help him when he's been awful to everybody? You know, even, you know, people that, you know, weren't necessarily horrible to him, but had a different point of view than he has. And he, you know, treats it like a threat and then ends up blocking them. And then comes on live and starts talking crap about them. You know, not mentioning the kid stuff, but his general attitude to people in general. Who would want to support a person like that? You know, and this is one of the things that made me want to call out Cecil, is the way he treats others. So who would help him out? You know? And why would he mention it to all of us that he was in financial trouble again? You know? Well, to be honest with you, I don't know if he's that financially in trouble, because if I was in financial trouble, the last thing I would be thinking about is more security cameras, which he recently put up some videos on. One camera that he has ordered is one of these little robots that you put on a dresser or whatever, and when you connect it up to your phone, you can actually tilt the camera to move it, 380 degrees or whatever. And it's in the shape of a little robot and that. I have 3 cameras that are stuck to my ceiling. They just look like ordinary cameras, and they do the same thing. But why would you be focusing on more cameras when you're behind on the rent and you could lose the house anyway? So I don't. Was his short on being financially in trouble a bit of an exaggeration? Well, it's hard to know, because Cecil very, very rarely tells the truth about anything. You know, he's attacked the community a number of times. You know, accusing us of being negative, not focusing on other things. And, it would be in his benefit if we did focus on other things. But the thing is, with Cecil, he doesn't seem to realise that, it's not against the rules to have more than one channel. And I do want to branch out on other things. Like what's going on with Scientology right now. And, if Cecil did see my channel and he did pay attention, he would probably say, oh, there's, another hater hating on Scientology when they're good people trying to do good things, without doing any research. And all these accusations that we, are just hateful people and nothing good to say. Yet Cecil does it all the time. For example, recently with Johnny Gobble, and he says, why would somebody go on a Johnny Gobble podcast? Well, the thing is, he has a podcast, unlike Cecil, who made plans to have a podcast. But the thing is, who would come on and talk with Cecil? He sets up this, these microphones. He's got quality microphones. He's got his desk and everything. And then he spends most of his time on the phone, standing in front of the phone in the kitchen, talking absolute crap. I don't get it, like. He seems to be too lazy to do any research, to have anything interesting to talk about. That's why I'm kind of bored with watching Cecil now. I mean, like, the well is running dry very quickly. And when the well does run dry, he tries to spice things up again by calling out his critics, who haven't spoke about him in a couple of weeks. When it comes to the community here on YouTube, people came together to call out Cecil for all the things that he is associated with, you know, and especially when it was in relation to, you know, child SA abuse and stuff like that. And, you know, fair play to everybody for doing that. Even though Cecil called everybody clout chasers, you know, it's very, very evident that nobody done this to get subscribers and views on YouTube. Most of the world doesn't know who Cecil is. But thanks to everybody that came together, anybody that does, you know, Google search, Highstreet Paranormal, Sea Love, Cecil, confession videos come up. Because that confession video came from him. We can argue over and back for another 8 years. The fact is, he said those things. He can accuse us of editing. He can accuse us of lying. He can accuse us of all sorts of things. He could go on for another 8 years doing that. Thing is, Cecil will not back down. But everybody knows the truth. And it's thanks to you people for doing that. You know? But I do want to question something. Are we prolonging this by actually giving Cecil attention, which there's no doubt about it, he craves for attention. It's like no attention is better than having, or bad attention is better than having no attention of toll kind of thing. Are we just feeding it by covering him? Should we just be ignoring him at this point unless something really relevant comes up? Something really, really serious that Cecil comes out with some night when he's doing his storytelling. It's hard to know. You know, I know all this publicity has resulted in a good thing. But is there some point where we have to put our line in the sand? Basically, I'm saying, is this over? You know, I mean, like, his channel is ruined. He doesn't have any engagement on the channel. I don't even know if Cecil is aware that, you know, engagement encourages YouTube to put out videos more. But if you turn off your comments and chats, YouTube doesn't do that. And I think he's shadow banned anyway because I've never recommended any of his videos. Even if I watch them all. And I've watched a lot of Cecil content looking for something funny to laugh at. Yet I'm not recommended anything after I finish watching a video. I'm not recommended anything else from him. Makes me think that he is shadow banned because he's talked about, well, he's got a foul mouth and he talks about controversial things. You know? So that's why I question, you know, where do we put the line in the sand? Where is this over? You know? Because keep continuing covering him. Are we just encouraging him? I mean, like, what more else is there to really say? We got our message out there. You know? Type into YouTube, Highstreet Paranormal. Type into YouTube, Cecil Highstreet, Sea Love. First thing's coming up, confession videos. You know? We basically made a digital billboard for his confession video. You know? That's why I'm thinking of sort of focusing on other stuff. Interesting, I will cover it. Maybe for comedy value or whatever, or if he just come up with something serious in the future, maybe I'll do something about that. But I think, for me, I think the ship has sank. Just had a random thought there, and it's kind of sad actually. His daughter has got a great interest in music. We're in the modern day, which is going to involve, in sometime in the future, some social media and some YouTube and stuff to get, her craft out there, her music and stuff. And her battle is, if she's associated with Cecil, that's going to be kind of a stumbling block. You know? And it is kind of sad, like. You know? Because people like us would let her get on with her thing. But, not everybody is like that. And Cecil, of course, probably wants, there's no doubt that he encourages her music and stuff like that. But if he wants to get involved in future YouTube or social media in relation to the daughter's music, that's going to be a problem for the daughter. And it is kind of sad because, it's hard enough getting out there as it is. Without something like this, which she shouldn't really know anything about, and having to put up with Cecil's stressful situations which she shouldn't have been involved with in the first place. That's one of the sad situations of all of this. The other thought was, Lil Lyko. He was pretty quiet about Lil Lyko until one morning. Well, it was morning for me. Well, Lyko says, you're cloud chasing off, Kobe Bryant's death, like. Wasn't overly savage. And that just triggered off Cecil, and Cecil's had a hate campaign since. I was there before he actually deleted those streams. I says, listen, in that particular response to Lyko's comment, he did admit to being a cloud chaser. And I just said to him, listen, Cecil, you just admitted to cloud chasing, so why are you giving this guy a hard time? Just flipping let it go, like. And, he's had a hate campaign since. Maybe it's been on and off before that or whatever, But what kicked it off in recent time was just a flipping comment, like. Do you know? The guy's 43 years old. He should learn to have some sort of restraint and not just flipping make a mountain out of a molehill. It's just, you know. But that's what Cecil does. And that's what he does with his channel. He makes videos talking about somebody else's hate comment that they managed to slip into his channel because some certain video in the past, the comments weren't turned off. That's all he's got to talk about. His paranormal is pure dog shit. In my opinion. The word research, he flings around to make himself sound really important. Yeah, he doesn't do research. He turns on a scanning radio and starts calling out to celebrities and stuff. That's not research. Do you know? Any Tom, Dick and Harry can do things like that. Cecil probably doesn't know who actually was the first person to come up with this bird box. The answer is frank assumption, but I know Cecil doesn't know anything about any history when it comes to the paranormal. All his research comes from Zach Bagans on the Ghost Adventures TV entertainment show. That is about it. Cecil had labelled us as the huff-hating, negative community, yet we were the ones that made friends with each other, and, you know, we got on with each other, we made friends, we made connections, and that's possibly one of the only good things that's come out of this. And it is a good thing. Cecil can't say the same thing. Going back on the Steve Huff hating community label that he's put on us, I don't know anybody that actually has said that they hated Steve Huff. It was a case of don't hate the player, hate the game. You know? A complete and utter exaggeration. And he accused us of clout chasing off his name just because we got big numbers on videos calling him out. It's completely ridiculous. Why would we build a channel on just calling Steve Huff out? You know, we say our thing and then we get on with it. We do our own thing. That's, you know. And he's bringing it up now when Steve Huff isn't even relevant anymore. Because Steve made the stupid mistake of pissing off a whole country. Of India, above all places. And he got shadow banned. So he's happened to try to build it all back and that. I don't know what he's doing lately. He's probably doing the same thing. But I've often corresponded with Steve Huff. Don't agree with a lot of things he does. I even correspond the odd time with Josh, which they don't get on anymore. But, you know, I got on well with Josh, even though I disagree with a lot of things he does. But somehow we did find some sort of common ground where we can actually get on, even though there's differences, you know? And if Cecil was some sort of a fan, you know, not everybody that does bad things doesn't do good things. there's things I'm doing now that Steve Huff had brought up a number of years ago, like the single radio station ran through a system where the audio is chopped up and then reversed and stuff, and doing it sort of live. I'm doing that stuff now that he was doing a couple of years ago. If Cecil was some sort of a fan, he would know about some of these things. But I don't even think he's a fan of Steve Huff at all. Steve Huff, Josh Lewis, any of them, he probably hasn't seen a video in a long, long time. He only throws his label at us because he's got nothing else to throw at us, basically. You know, Cecil has software there in relation to, making beats and music and stuff. And when he then does a Spurt Box session, he's got the most horrible audio ever, like. If he had some sort of interest in ITC research, real research, he would be putting that audio through the software that he uses. I'm not very good with software at all. I'm using, noise gates and guitar pedals and, physical effects. And people are saying, Jesus, this is the modern age, you should be using software and stuff. Now, somebody is going to, somebody in the audio industry and ITC is going to help me with software and stuff. But Cecil knows all this already. But he doesn't seem to bring his music knowledge into ITC. Turns on a PSP7, the worst Spurt Box ever, and just blasts it in our faces. When he could have been putting it through the software and softening down the static and stuff like that and making it a little bit more palatable for us and experimenting. That's what it's all about. But Cecil doesn't do experiments very well. Do you know? And I do a lot of ITC a lot of the time. In some ways, with Cecil's software and that, he's got knowledge that I don't have. But he doesn't seem to put it together with the ITC. It's kind of weird. And I don't know. Cecil's idea of ITC is kind of copying other people. Monkey see, monkey do, and not question anything. There's no, I'm going to do this because this is how I seen it on another video. And not experimenting for himself. That's not research, it's just copying what other people do. Rant over. Anything I just said for the last couple of minutes isn't really relative anymore when it comes to Cecil, because he's clinging on to a channel that's dead, which he killed himself by just talking absolute rubbish. He calls us the drama channels. He calls us the drama community. I haven't seen more drama than I have seen on Cecil's channel. Damn it, I've seen more drama on Cecil's channel than I've seen on Drama Alert. My God. He can exercise the right to not say anything, and sometimes he does that for a couple of weeks. Probably because his partner has given him a tongue lashing and tells him to shut up on that, and he'll do it for a couple of weeks. And then he just cannot help himself. He has to bring it all back again because he's not getting any attention. And it's possibly the reason why he loses so many jobs. You know? It's not a good icebreaker by saying, oh, you know, you might see me on YouTube and that, you know, with some sort of confession video, but that's from all these fucktards who edit my videos and that, and I didn't do those things. And I was underage and all this kind of crap. He seems to he just cannot keep the gob shut. So I don't know how many jobs he's lost because he just can't keep his mouth shut. I mean, like, if somebody new to my job starts coming out with that kind of stuff, I'm staying a mile away from that person. Straight up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to Google it when I get home. And then I'm going to get fucking really, really alarmed by what I see. Oh, I've got another random thought. Remember that short video where he was saying, you know, you guys are putting me down while I'm already down. You know, I'm behind with my bills. I had to sell my car. Now, he says he had to sell his car because he couldn't get the valve cover fixed. And I'm thinking, I'm not a qualified mechanic, but I have worked with cars. The valve cover is the cover on top of the engine block, which is the easiest thing to get through. Not as much on a modern car now where you have to take off a load of flipping plastics and stuff. But it's basically the top end of the engine. And I remember there was smoke and stuff. So, did he have a faulty gasket on the valve cover? You know, it's not that difficult to remove a valve cover and replace the valve cover gasket. It's not a complete engine strip down job. It's just on the top of the engine block. I don't get that. You know? Maybe there was more complications than that, but when I hear the word valve cover, it's the top piece of metal that you see on the top of the engine where the spark plugs goes in and stuff. There's just a cover on top there, and there's a line of screws. You take that off, you take out the gasket, you put in another gasket, and then you put back on the screws, and you torque them to the same level each one, because you don't want to over tighten one side because it'll lift the other side, and then it could cause leaks and stuff. You'd have to torque them all the same, you know, a little bit at a time to each nut, and then tighten them sort of evenly. But it's not that complicated of a job. So I was wondering what exactly was the problem. I don't know. Finishing up, Cecil will always contradict himself, but he's not gonna back down. He will say things, he will contradict himself, he will trip over things, he'll make a fool of himself, but he won't back down. I don't see where arguing with him anymore is going to be fruitful, because the message is out there. Do you know? Cecil keeps saying he won. Well, you know, it doesn't look like it from here, because his channel has been destroyed by himself. You know, he can't do engagement because he just gets trolled all the time. He cannot hold a conversation without coming up with the kid thing, and that subject is never far from his head. and he's just constantly justifying bad things, justifying bad behaviour. When he steps on doo-doo, he'll delete the video, or he'll deny he said things, and then random news is going to bring it up, and here he goes lying again. Thinking of putting that on a t-shirt. Here he goes lying again. Somebody should make a Cecil t-shirt with Cecil's face on it, and here he goes lying again. But just feel like things are going around in circles, kind of fun. You know? But folks, I'm going to leave it for now because I have other content to edit. I have 2 visits from the Ulster American Folk Park that I still have to get around to editing properly. I'm putting that through on my other channel and stuff, and I have ITC experiments. I've been experimenting all day yesterday, and I have a load of footage to put out and stuff. Don't talk about Cecil all the time. I don't think about Cecil all the time, because Cecil would be a detriment. I'm tripping over my words. Cecil would be detrimental to my mental health if I thought about him all the time. You know? But folks, thanks for listening. And, thanks for being out there, standing up for what is right, we built a positive community. We all came together with a purpose, and we achieved what we set out to do. Cecil will, every so often claim victory, and not the way things look. He's had plenty of opportunity to explain himself. He doesn't feel like he needs to do that, and when he does, he makes a complete mess of it. Basically, people aren't stupid, they know the truth and stuff, and they know that Cecil is a constant liar and stuff, But, I'm going to finish up. I'll talk to you again soon, hopefully.
So not only was I on tune on the second version of Wonderwall, but I sound almost exactly like the original recording of the original song from the original...
Are you serious?
Recording of the original song from the original artist. So I know you're full of shit when you come over here and you tell me that it's not the song for me. That's probably the most perfect song for me. And I did send it to Oasis.
That was good. That was excellent. I was excellent. I certainly did enjoy that.
These people are energy vampires, and don't let them suck you dry. Peace.
Cool. Lovely message, okay?
Because I see the results are coming in my face. Coming to my face. Coming in my face don't sound right.
Oh, darn.
And Mike Tyson likes to fiddle with my butthole.